Hello and welcome to Jep's Outdoor Adventures. I'm your host Jep. In today's episode, we're going to be testing out Federal's new solid core ammo for the 45 ACP. Federal came out with this a little while ago. I know it's gained a little bit of attention from Outdoor Life and Field and Stream, but there really hasn't been a lot of YouTube videos made on it, which I feel is just not quite right. So I figured I would get some and test it out for y'all today. Now, the 45 is actually a pretty interesting caliber, and the more I've tested it, the more I've liked it, and the more comfortable I am with it. And I have to say, it can be a pretty potent caliber when loaded up to its full potential. Now, the firearm that we are using for today's video is a Rock Island Armory A1FS with a 5-inch barrel. It is a basically stock firearm. Nothing has been changed except the sights on it. That is the only thing. Everything else is the exact same. So we're just going to get right into the video, and then we'll save all of the discussion for the end of the video. Here we go.
All right, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me well. I'm working out a new microphone and gimbal system here. So this will be a first for the channel here as far as some new equipment for testing, but hopefully it works out well. So as you can see here, we have our testing medium. Now this is our standard testing medium for the channel. What we have right here is our faux wool substitute. We used to have what actually looked like faux wool, but now we have two shop racks here that are layered up on each other and a 1/4-inch thick piece of masonite. And then we have our first row of jugs, and then two 3/4-inch thick pieces of plywood. And then we have 6 more water jugs going up the length. And then we have one last piece of plywood here at the end. And this is just to try and catch the bullet if it goes all the way through. Now, as you can see here, that is almost 48 inches of barrier to go through. Now, the reason why we have 3 rows of jugs here is because if the bullet tries to go off to the side, we will still catch it, and it works rather well. Now, all of these are filled to the brim best we could, and they're capped off, and so this is a great representation of, say, a bear head on. This is very much like bone, and it also would do well to simulate, say, the shoulder blade of a moose. So depending on your circumstances, you may have a different shot opportunity, whether you're hunting or in a circumstance like a bear, self-protection. But either anyway, we're going to step back and we're going to take our first shot. So here we go. All right, first shot here we go. Woo. All right, let's check that out. As you can see, the video is much more stable now that I have the gimbal, so I'm very happy with it so far. The only issue is pointing it where I am looking. Now, as you can see here, we got a very nice clean entrance hole. Split open the water jug nicely. Hopefully you can see it, I'm not sure. We got a nice entrance hole here on the plywood. There's the exit hole on the first board. Here's the entrance hole on the first board. And then the exit hole on the second board. And I believe we have a bullet in this one. I'm going to check it, pour it out. Yep, there it is. There it is. We'll give you a better up-close look in a minute, but so far it looks like it held its shape very nicely. All right, second shot. Here we go. Sent one of the caps right here flying at us. Let's check that out. Okay, looks like we hit in the same spot again. Very nice entrance hole. Now it looks like we hit the board sideways on this one. It's hard to tell though. There's the exit hole on the first board. entrance hole on the second board. Ooh. And there's the exit hole on the second board. It does look like it hit sideways because it's hard to move this thing around. As you can see here, all these jugs are full. It's this other row that are dripping. It looks like it hit this one right here on the side. Went into this one. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it went into this one. I think it only scraped this first jug here. We'll rummage our way around here. Okay, so it looks like it hit right about here and went out. So we will be looking the area over here just in case we will see it. That blue might just stand out, but in the meantime we will have to take another shot, see if we can catch the next bullet. All right, third shot here. Let's see how this does. All right, let's check that out. All right, so as we can see here, one of the jugs got thrown off the table here. We hit fairly nice on the board here. It's hard for me to look at anything because I'm holding my microphone in one arm and the gimbal in the other. So I'll call in my assistant here to help me. 3, 4 jugs that are leaking. There's a fifth. Oh, there it is. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we found the bullet here. We'll give you a close-up look in a moment. But so far it doesn't look like it had hardly any deformation at all. Alright folks, so here we have our second simulated bone barrier variation. This has a 1/2 inch thick piece of cutting board here. It's a nice thick large cutting board like what you'd find for some restaurants. And this right here simulates a tougher variation of bone, whereas the wood is a little bit on the softer side. This is very much a hard barrier to go through, hence why we only have one of them here. So we still have the 1/4 inch thick piece of masonite. We still have all 7 jugs here. So all that we've really changed is the simulated bone barrier right here itself. So we'll see just how different the bullet will react to this compared to the plywood. We're going to get set back here and see how this does. Okay, first shot here with the simulated bone barrier variation 2. Here we go. As you can see, we knocked a couple jugs off the table here. Got a nice hit here on the first jug, split it open fairly well. Here we have our entrance point for the bullet. And for comparison's sake, here we have 4 shots of 10mm loads that we've tested out before. And then here we have the 45 load here. So they aren't all that dissimilar. It looks like it hit it head on, which is very good. Thank you. Taking a little bit of getting used to it, this thing. All right, and here we have the next 3 jugs. The lids were blown off. Looks like this may very well be the one with the bullet. But it is not. It opened up on the side here. My eyes are getting bleary, by the way, so if I'm not pointing in the right direction or something is out of focus, I do apologize. It is cold and it is windy, and that is a terrible combination for my eyesight.
Right there, I think.
Looks like we potentially hit the board there, but we are having a hard time finding out. And it's not just our vision. These things just keep disappearing, even though they are bright blue. So, I don't know what to tell you, folks. If we find it, we'll let you know, but I don't think we will.
It had to hit there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Which probably means it's buried itself out here. Though we have found some in the past, even though they disappeared, they've shown up. So, but it does seem like 6 jugs of water is fairly consistent as far as penetration goes. Unfortunately, the round seems to be a little squirrely as to the direction it will go. So that is not good. but penetration is on point. So I gotta give credit where credit's due. All right, here we go again with the alternate bone barrier. Let's see how we do. Here we go. Okay, so as we can see here, we have 2 jugs got knocked off the table. Got a good entrance hole here and exit hole. We hit darn near the same spot on the board. I do not know exactly. Nope, I do. It's the bottom one there. As you can see, I did try to mark the spot with a permanent marker, but the board was wet at the time, so it did not work. Looks like it went into 6 jugs of water. Here on the 5th, there's an exit hole, and it looks like it goes right into this jug right here. And let's see if I can get it on camera there. Here we go. There's the bullet. We're going to pour it out. Okay, so as we can see here, we did indeed catch the bullet. And it looks like there's no deformation. Of course, we will give you another up-close look in just a second. But pretty nice. It did, however, go out at an angle, so we'll see if this is going to be a consistency with this round or if it's just happening by chance. And you know what, people? When I said that we were probably going to find one of the bullets, I believe I did. I found this guy laying on the ground. So exactly what happened there, I'm not entirely sure, but we did catch one. That's good. Okay, here we go. Let's check that out. Again, knocked down one of the water jugs. Looks like the sun's disappearing for a few seconds, which is nice. There's been some pretty bad glare. I'm gonna suspect we hit there. I could be wrong. I'm thinking we did. Yep. I can get it to adjust here. Okay, it looks like we found the bullet here right after the 5th water jug. And it looks like it did do some damage to the 6th here. So, if I can get the camera to focus, we'll give you an up-close look in just a second. Okay, for our next test, we're doing a slight comparison here. This is some Freedom Munitions ammunition here. It's made in Idaho, and it is some 200 grain round nose ammunition. It's basically the full metal jacket or ball ammo. And the reason why we're testing this is to see if it's squirrely just like this round is. This round isn't horrible, but it does seem to want to go off to the side a good bit. And this should be a moderately fair comparison to make. Okay, first shot here with the Freedom Munitions comparison. Here we go. Not too bad. Let's check that out. So as we can see here, we did knock one of the jugs off the table. Got a nice hit there. Up. And there is our bullet. How about that? I'm zooming in because I can't get any closer with the gimbal here. But it did lodge at an angle. It looks like it tried to hit and it just couldn't do it. We're going to try and wedge that out and see what it looks like. Just be careful.
I think this is melted to it.
And we might need to wait until we can get it inside and try and cut it. Yeah, how about that?
It's welded in there.
We want to be careful not to get hurt here. Let's see if I can tilt it around here. It is wedged in there. I know I tested out some of Federal's ball ammo, It's like 230 grain, I think, so it was a little bit heavier. We did not use this specific test. We used the original bone barrier, which we had in the first part of the video, as you remember, hopefully. And it went right through. It did pretty good. It didn't do quite as well as the double tap Keith style hard cast, but it did do pretty well, actually. I was fairly impressed. But this one being 200 grain, I don't know if it's the weight or if this barrier is just that hard for bullets to go through. As you can see here on the board, there is a 140 grain extreme penetrator bullet for the 10 millimeter that we tested out just a little bit ago, and it absolutely failed at this test. It did go through, but as you can see, it hit on the side instead of going straight in, and the performance just was not there. It went through half of what this federal load went through. Did not impress me, but here we have this guy who didn't even make it through, so maybe comparatively it did a little bit better. I don't know. I'll let you make the judge. But we're going to have to keep moving on. We don't want this to be too long of a video. Now we're going to go on to the chronograph testing. Okay, here we have the chronograph. Let's see what kind of readings we get. Here we go. 907.
868.
868.
870.
870.
870 again.
870 again.
878.
878.
909.
909.
All right, guys, we are back in the lodge. As you can see, we've done a little bit of decor changes to it. I don't know if I mentioned that last time I made a video. I don't think I did. I think all the changes I made were after the Underwood video. But it's hard to remember. All the days bleed together. I think a lot of people know what I mean by that. But at the end of the day, we have made some nice changes. We are going to be showing off more of this place down the road. We are going to be doing a little bit more to insulate it, all that fun stuff. But I figured I would say something because I know somebody's going to look at it and go, okay, something's different. So yes, you are right. We have done quite a bit to change the decorum in here, and I quite like it. We've collected some deer skulls I found while hunting, some pine cones, some leaves that I waxed. I got some pheasant feathers. I got a whole bunch of things that I've added to the place, kind of make it a little bit more nice. I don't know. But anyway, getting back to the topic of the video, this round actually was pretty interesting. The chronograph results, as you saw, were 907 feet per second, 868 feet per second, 870 feet per second, 870 feet per second again, 878, and then 909 feet per second, which came out to an average of 883.66 feet per second. Then the bullets that we collected, unfortunately, it's hard to keep track of which one came first, so I just arranged them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whether or not we actually collected them all in that manner, I do not know, and I do apologize to everybody. I need to get better about marking off which bullets are which and everything, but when you're trying to film a video in a time span of about an hour, you do have to kind of keep it moving, so I didn't have time to try and mark which ones were which, so these are just kind of a sorted order, and then I assigned a number system to them so I wouldn't lose track of them any more than I already did. So the first bullet came out to 239.6 grains. The second came in at 239.8 grains. The third came in at 240.5 grains. The fourth came in at 240.1 grains, and the fifth came in at 240.1 grains again. So that came out to 240.2 grains as the average bullet weight that we recovered. And of course, that isn't very far from the starting number that these bullets were supposed to be at. So really, they did retain their weight rather well. I am pretty impressed with that. And as far as the deformation goes, there is very, very little at all. Now, the last bullet we tested, which was the full metal jacket round, of course, it isn't meant for these hard barriers, so I don't want anybody to think I don't like Freedom Munitions or anything. But that bullet is just your standard full metal jacket ball ammo round, and it is not meant to go through these barriers. And in fact, it didn't. I pulled out the bullet. I had to use the heat gun to just warm it up and get it to separate from the plastic, which was actually pretty nice. I didn't have to cut myself to try and get to it. And the thing got really beat up. It got all bent out of shape and everything, and it didn't even make it all the way through. Now, it did create quite the bump on the back side of the board. It did force, or it did hit with some force, excuse me, but it did not go through that board, which is a must if you're going to be carrying something for bear protection. So I have a feeling it's just because of the lightweight nature of the bullet. The prior full metal jacket rounds that we tested out from Federal, although we did not use the cutting board as a barrier in that video, did go through the 2 3/4 inch thick pieces of plywood, which isn't a very soft barrier in and of itself, and didn't have too many issues. The force it hit with was not the same as the hardcast, but it still did keep up fairly well as far as penetration goes. Whether or not it would survive this testing, I don't know. We may need to do a video all just for that round. But at the end of the day, the Freedom Munitions one was just a little bit lighter, and it just didn't have the weight and the force to push through. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, overall, these rounds did pretty good as far as weight retention and no deformation at all. Not really. So now we took the average feet per second and the average grain weight for the bullets, and we figured out the average foot-pounds of force that you will get from this round, and the average is 416.7 foot-pounds of force. So that is hitting with a good bit of force. There's no doubt about it. It is not going to be the fastest bullet out here. It isn't going to be the hardest hitting, but it is going to do a pretty good job. Putting numbers aside, let's go over the actual, just kind of performance overall. The round wanted to go off to the right quite a bit in our testing. Although it did not happen every time, it did happen quite a few times, which is a little bit of a worry. Why it did that, I don't know. The board itself, the table, is about as flat as we can get it, as level as we can get it. So I really don't see any reason why it would want to go off to the side, other than the round nose nature of these bullets causing it to try and deviate. Flat nose rounds are great because they punch through bone, they punch through all sorts of heavy barriers without flinching, really. They just power right through it. The buffalo bore round had a semi-flat nose. The double tap Keith load had a very flat nose. So depending on your needs, either one could work just fine for you. This one right here, I think would do just fine. You do need to keep in mind, though, that it isn't the best of the bunch. I would definitely take either one of those two over this one, at least at this point in time. I do like the fact that these are blue bullets, kind of sticks out. It's different. Federal tried something new, and I do like that. And they perform pretty well overall. And this is not going to be a bad round. It's just not going to be the best round. I applaud Federal for trying something new, especially with some calibers that are a little bit easier on the wallet and more available for your average Joe. Not everyone has a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, and not everyone needs one either. Most people don't need one. And on a slightly different topic, I do just want to bring up the fact that I am now on Utreon. This will be posted on Utreon, so if you're watching on Utreon and you see this, feel free to check out my YouTube channel as well. But I'm mainly kind of promoting Utreon here. If you're watching on YouTube, you probably already know, but YouTube can be really, really iffy, and sometimes they will just boot people off their platform entirely. So being on another platform as a backup is always nice. And, I'm kind of getting used to Utreon. I don't use it much. I know, that's the issue. We all will whine and moan about how bad YouTube is, and then we'll go right back to it. It's an issue we all have, but I believe Utreon is a nice backup at least, and may very well get some nice perks for me down the road where I'll upload unique content. I don't know. What I do know is that I appreciate everyone who watches my channel. Please feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this ammunition, of the video, if there's anything else you think I can maybe do to kind of make these videos better. Again, it's been a while since I've made a video. I've tried to keep up and do everything that I've been doing in the past, but after a little while you can get very rusty very quickly. And please feel free to share this video wherever you like. And if you do find the Utreon page, which I will have linked down below, share it as well. Please. There's a lot of other gun guys on there. There's a lot of other content creators on there. It's always nice to promote the little guy. So Utreon can catch up pretty quickly if we give it an opportunity to. So if you can share the link to my YouTube channel, you'll see the little share button. And when I say share, I mean share, not share.
If I could turn back time.
I know, that's a joke I've been using a lot, but I like it. Then you can share this video and YouTube will know you shared it, and it will allow me to get better analytics. And if you find the Utreon page, you can share that as well. And I would really appreciate it if you would. It does help out a lot, believe me. So anyway, guys, it was good seeing you all, and I guess we'll see you all next time. Bye.